Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Williams. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Williams. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Williams, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today, folks. Actually, I have a lot to discuss, and today's sort of going to be a soliloquy until somebody calls in, or if somebody wants to call in, and not only call in, but maybe try to discuss, debate some of what we're going to talk about, because this is important. We are now a few months before Iowa. We are now working on what is the Democratic Party going to look like? What is America going to look like? What is governing America going to look like? Are we going to start thinking about the masses, or are we going to cower into fearing half of the country? Are we going to try to coalesce onto a platform that really helps few, not enough of us, because we are fearful that the other side is somehow going to say you guys are too much on the fringe? Is that what we're going to do? We have to really play things out. And I tell you what, interestingly, one of the most important parts of success in everything that we do is communication, is building trust with others. That is what it takes. It doesn't mean, none of this means going against your own values. You don't have to go against your own values to have good debates to move forward. You don't. There is much to do. Welcome aboard, Kathleen Morgan. Hi, all from a rainy Scituate, Massachusetts. Welcome aboard, my friend. Welcome aboard. So, folks, what I want to do today, I want to get serious into this discussion. I mean, the title, I made it purposely provocative. When you hear me say generational theft, it's not an accusation against, let's say, baby boomers. Baby boomers and older Gen X's are nothing in what I'm going to talk about as a tool. Now, after made aware of these issues, then if we don't make the change, and at that point, I think it is necessary for one to feel guilty. But up until then, we are all in this game. We were all played. And I think it is so important now, my brothers and my sisters, that we no longer allow ourselves to be played. That we no longer allow that. So what I want to do today, what is important for us to do today, is to not only talk about, how should I say this? Not only talk about this issue in a very honest manner, but do it in a civil manner that encourages others to come into the fold. Because this is a difficult subject. It is very difficult. And what we have to do is come together. That's what we got to do. And we can't allow them to use us. We can't allow them to play us. So let's go ahead and get the show started. Title of the show today is Generational Theft is Real, even if cloaked in a false ideology. For my baby boomers watching, this is not an attack. For my older Gen Xers, this is not an attack. For my younger Gen Xers, my millennials, my Gen Zs, this is not an appeasement to you. As far as saying, oh, look at what they had done to me, so I need it. No, this is not what this is about. This is about what a very small amount of people who have played America have done to Americans. And what I want us to do is understand this, and after understanding this, and like I said, I like numbers. After we present the numbers as to how this could actually occur, then it is time for us to move in. Then it is time for us to go and say, we are not impotent. We can actually solve the problem. Anyhow, subtitle, or let me do the title again because another bash just came in. And folks, if you're just joining us, whether you're a millennial, Gen Xer, baby boomer, please share this. This is important information that we're going to talk about today. We're going to start from what Obama had to say. I'm going to put what Obama had to say in context, and then we're going to move on from there. I'm going to also use some of what a young man told me, some of what older people have told me, because there are a lot of older folks that are pissed at me, good friends, pissed, because they think the things that I'm talking about can lose us the election. And my contention is what we're doing is insanity right now, and what we are doing, Democrats and older progressives, they are putting a sure win into a marginal win. Because look, let me tell you, first of all, I have no fear. We're going to win in 2020. There's no doubt in my mind that from the presidency all the way down, we are going to win in 2020. The question is, how big are we going to win? And the other question is, who we allow to win. That is the question about Democrats winning in 2020. Don't believe that the billionaires are scared that Donald Trump is going to pull it out. That's not it. Again, I'm going to tell you why that is so not true. But beforehand, let me go ahead and continue with the program, bring it into the program. But folks, we're going to win. And this win is not just for Democrats. This win is for my brothers and sisters in Appalachia. This win is for my brothers and sisters in the Midwest, Ohio, Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois, Indiana. It's for all of us. Even those who don't think they want us to win. If we do it right, they will want us to win. Even if they don't admit that they want us to win, they will enjoy the spoils having won. So folks, let's not allow them to play the scary game on us, brothers and sisters. Anyway, it is a fact that we are currently in a state of generational theft. Most Americans would not have accepted it if we were not cloaked in a false morals and responsibility. One should not feel guilty for the generational theft that has been in progress since Reagan's voodoo economics. We shouldn't. We shouldn't. The Powell Manifesto is great. It's a great piece of writing. It was perfectly implemented by the Heritage Foundation, the Cato Institute, and all these organizations that makes fallacy look real. So the reason we have the independent media out there is to tell you folks, let's not fall for it. If you're just joining us, I need you to share the program. This is an important program that we're going to have here. Please share widely. This is important. We're going to talk the truth. I am going to tell you the truth today. This is going to be a huge Democratic win. The question is whom will win, how the win is going to occur. And we have to make that win. The right people that's going to protect the right people. Don't fall for what's going on right now. I beg of thee, stay with me. Please share. We have a lot to talk about. And I want you to listen. And even after the show, I need you to share because we have not only generational theft, but we also have a fraud at hand, not just by Republicans or otherwise, by our own establishment. And I'm saying this kindly. A lot of this isn't people just picking things, but I know you want me to hurry and get into the thing. So stay with me, people, and share. Continuing the program. One should not feel guilty for the generational theft that has been in progress since Reagan's voodoo economics. Not yet anyway. But when presented with the numbers, which are in fact absolute, if one still decides to pull the wool over their eyes or bury their heads in the sand, then at that point one is complicit. Just like one is complicit if they ignore racism, sexism, homophobia, ageism, and all the other isms, one is complicit in generational theft. Interestingly, the theft isn't necessarily perpetrated by the generation getting a little bit more. In other words, don't blame baby boomers for generational theft. Don't blame it's a system. And what we have to do, and we have the power to do it right now, and Americans are starting to do it. And the plutocracy is getting scared. That will be made clear when it is pointed out that the masses are but a tool for wealth extraction and maximization. Let me tell you what I want to do right now first. I want to play you a video I did over the weekend for a blog at Daily Kos that really raised the hell of a lot of hell, and really a lot of people started talking about it. It's about what Obama had to say. And then when I come back around, I want to really talk about how generational theft works, how it doesn't really help any generation at all. It is just a tool. And what we have in the progressive movement that's occurring now will solve it. And they're scared about it because you are empowering yourself. If you're just joining us, I beg thee to share because we're going to get serious. Here is a video that I did over the weekend for Daily Kos that I wanted to show you, and then we'll move on from here. But it's about Obama. President Obama, in a room of wealthy liberal donors, said the following: even as we push the envelope and we are bold in our vision, we also have to be rooted in reality, Mr. Obama said. The average American doesn't think we have to completely tear down the system and remake it. No, we don't have to tear down the system to its core, but what we need to do is make the necessary modifications. President Obama once said that Ronald Reagan was a transformational president, and he had admiration for this transformational president. And what did Reagan do? Reagan came in and he went crazy with tax cuts. He was transformational. He pulled the system down. That is what Ronald Reagan did. And after he did that, he made modifications around the edges. Obama, on the other hand, when he came into power, was an incrementalist. Obamacare was incremental. We didn't go all out. Ronald Reagan said, I was going to slash taxes and destroy our current tax system. He was transformational. He did it. President Obama came in, and we came in with centrism. We came in with Obamacare that kept private insurance companies, gave them the ability to continue to pilfer you. Yes, it was better that everybody was able to get some insurance, but most or many could not afford it. So henceforth, Medicare for All came, many other policies that we needed for the middle class, given the pilfer that had been occurring for the last 40 years. One hopes that no one takes what President Obama said in that room to mean that the progressive agenda must be attenuated, that the progressive agenda must not move forward. Somehow, when many of these presidents, ex-presidents, and others get into the fold of Wall Street, the thought process changes. Well, the thought process of middle-class America, the thought process of poor America, the only change they need to make is a change that says, we will take it no more. Let's remember what has been done to Americans. We have paid for the development of many drugs that now we are being ripped off for. We have paid for many discoveries that we are being ripped off for. We are paying for colleges. We are educating kids, educating people to go into corporate America after these same corporations are paying less taxes to get an educated workforce. Over and over again, we are asked to pay to make a few rich. We are asked to pay all these different things, from drugs to healthcare to education to childcare, so that the corporations will have the necessary slaves to run their business and accumulate their wealth on your backs. I know how it sounds. It sounds like, is that really America? Is that how it really functions? Look at your pocketbook and look at the pocketbook at the few on the top and see if that is how America works. When you get up every morning struggling to get to work and try to figure out how you're going to pay your next bill. When you figure out that Americans cannot absorb, 80% of Americans cannot absorb a $400 excess bill. When you realize that Americans no longer have savings because every excess dollar goes to the plutocracy, goes for healthcare or whatever. Remember how our system works. Whatever the market will bear. So therefore, they will continue to increase prices to the maximum amount you are able to provide. No savings. It is time for a change. It is time for transformational change. President Obama once spoke of hope and change and a transformational president. Let's get one. Okay, let's get a transformational president, and that is what's the biggest fear of the plutocracy right now. When you see them come out against a Bernie Sanders, or when you see them come out against an Elizabeth Warren, or anybody, even El Señor Castro, when you start to see that, you understand exactly what is happening now, okay? There was a little meme that went out that fact-checked about how many billionaires are giving money to different Democrats. Let me tell you better. We have to remember, recently I played you a video on Morning Joe where a Democratic strategist comes on TV and says, if either Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren are the ones that are selected by the Democratic Party, I will vote for Donald Trump. We have a whole group of billionaires that claim to be progressives that have said, if any one of those two come in, they will not vote for them. They will support Donald Trump. I also ask many people, a lot of times people make it look like, oh, Donald Trump is so bad. He's a racist. He's all up. I don't care about that. Have you heard Oprah Winfrey talking bad about Donald Trump? Have you heard Beyonce, Jay-Z, or all these folks? No, they're happy. What I'm trying to tell America is it is time for the middle class and the poor to look out for ourselves. Generational theft was the theme of the show, the initial theme of the show. And by the way, folks, you can give me a call if you want to add to the debate, 646-716-5812. Again, that number is 646-716-5812. I would love to have you guys call in at will if you have something specific you want to say, if you have something specific you want to ask. But let me start about generational theft because I want to say there's something that's on my mind. Earlier on, I wrote a message after, remember, everybody wants you to believe that we are in a losing proposition. That is a theory going out there. Oh, we are going to lose if we don't move to the center. Oh my God, we're going to lose. But all during that time, 2018, Democrats, with the help of progressives making the change, brought us over, not by a little, by a bunch. How did that work? You'll have the centrists say, well, most of the candidates that were running were centrist candidates. You know what? They're right. They're right. But that's not the reason they won. They won because the Delta came in. The progressives came in to the fold. Those people that felt they had nothing to win all these other times didn't come in. Let me explain what I want. Folks, stick with me and share, please share. There's a lot that we're going to talk about, how we're being fooled into believing that we're not going to win in 2020 if we don't go to the center. 2020, if we don't go to the center, is going to be a blowout win. I mean a huge win. I am on the fields. I'm not just behind the screen, behind the camera. I'm out there talking to millennials. I'm out there talking to Gen Xers. I'm out there talking to Latinos. I'm out there talking to black folk. All these people are saying the same thing. We want something to vote for. And guess what? It seems like finally there's a reason to vote. So what are the baby boomers and all others going to do? Not vote? Of course we're going to vote because even every policy that they want is their telephone caller. I'm coming to you. I need to get 5 minutes to get my message out here. Let me give the first item of generational theft. When people start to talk, oh, we're moving too much to the center, moving too much to the right, we don't have the money to pay that. Let me tell you something. Recall, today I just got a message that says, hey, the COLA this year, meaning the cost of living increase for people on Social Security, and who are people on Social Security, 60-something or older on Social Security, is going to be 1.6%. Every single year, except I think 1 year, people on Social Security get their deserved, and notice I said, they deserve it. They deserve to get their rate, their wealth increase, the income that they're getting. They get more money every year because the cost of living goes up. They get an increase. Okay. When we try to get an increase in minimum wage, something that all these folks are saying is to the left. Folks, if you're just joining us, please share. What's the first thing that they're saying if you're on the left? The first thing that they say is this. That's a leftist idea. If we go ahead and increase the wages of people, then we're going to drop employment. They want you to forget math and economics. But let's back up. We're saying that they're already saying, well, actually, the only people on minimum wage are the younger folks anyway. which is not true, but that's what they say. It's the younger folks anyway. So we don't want to increase minimum wage. We haven't increased minimum wage substantially in decades, right? But every year, the older folks get their COLA, but minimum wage people don't get their COLA. A minimum wage that was good in 1990 is less than half what it is now in 2019, right? So we are saying, we are allowing those people to get less, meaning the employers of these people continue to make more money because their wealth increases more so because they're paying less in real dollars to their minimum wage employees. Their wages go down while the employers' wages go up, and the wages of the retirees go up, those that are in Social Security. You say, how is that wage theft? How is that generational theft? Well, if you're going up with inflation, meaning you're standing still. The people on Social Security, they're standing still. The people on wages, they continue to decline. We're not asking you anymore. That is what's happening. So those people that are progressives are saying, we are going to stop that. How do we stop that? We stop that by, yes, increasing wages. How is that going to make things better? Is that going to hurt the economy? Absolutely not. Why not? If you increase the wages on people, those people start to have more buying power. If they buy more, guess what happens when they buy more? There's more demand. All those factories that were closed because there's more spending power have to be reopened. What does that mean? They have to hire more people. When they hire more people, that's more money into the... Look, it increases, but here is the kicker. If you notice, everybody's talking about how unemployment is very low. The plutocracy, the powers that be, the establishments have high unemployment. How can unemployment be high? How can it be high? I mean, how can employment be high, unemployment low, and you still do not have price power? That is what we've done to our system. So what do we have to do going forward? Folks, the policies, I'm coming to the phones in a minute, the policies that progressives are looking for are the solutions to all of these problems. It stops generational theft. Why? Because we start to get your salaries indexed to inflation. Corporations that used to pay for your college. Remember, those people who were, the older folks went to school on the cheap. They had the GI Bill, plus the corporations had to pay taxes so that those universities would be inexpensive. We have decided now that our children are going to pay high prices for universities. Therefore, they have to take out loans. So we further give money to the plutocrats, the ones who run the banks, right? So our kids, generational theft, we have taken tax cuts, left them with a bigger bill for college, with interest rates to pay for college. How do we solve that? We solve that with loan forgiveness and also taxing the whole of hell back out of the system to start paying for schools again. After all, who is the schools? Who are these educated people for? To serve the corporations so they can make a profit for their shareholders. So they should be investing in the people who they need to work. So these ideas that people try to tell you is left, it is far from being left. It is just being honest. It is just being fair. What I'm going to do, I have a lot more to say, a lot more than struck, but I'm going to bring the phones in just in case somebody wants to say, well, I want it explained some way differently. So line coming from 434, you are on. Come on in.
These ideas that people
434, you're on.
It is far from...
Turn your mic down, and the person calling from 434 is hot. You can talk now. Okay, I'll put you on hold and I'll go to 607. All right, 607, you're on.
Hey, Berto. So happy to talk to you. This is Rose Williams talking to you from Windsor, New York.
Talk to me, Rose.
I love
talk
your
to me.
program. I love your views.
Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Talk to me. Oh, ma'am, talk to me.
I agree. I agree with everything you're saying about generational theft, etc. I have something, because we have a debate coming up in the next couple of days I just wanted to comment on something. The DNC has been sending out emails asking people to suggest questions,
Mm-hmm.
and I submitted one the last time after like going crazy trying to fit the question into the tiny little box they gave you.
Mm-hmm.
And this time, I examined the element, etc. It only allowed 250 characters,
Right.
which is not good for an in-depth question. In fact, it's great for a BS question.
Right.
And I was not able to fit my question. So basically, I just told them I fit in the box that I tried to compose an in-depth question. I kept trying to edit it to fit in this tiny space until it dawned on me the whole point was to prevent anyone from asking real questions and only allow the same simplistic, you know what,
Right.
thanks for nothing. So that's what I put. Again, I know this is a little off topic, but given that the debate is Wednesday night, I thought it might be something
Actually,
to
it's not
discuss.
off topic at all because we have a lot of people that listen to this program. And if everybody who is listening to this program go ask an in-depth question based on this subject, and none of those questions get mailed, then we can actually put out a
Yeah.
press release that says, hey, they weren't really
Right.
taking real questions. They were just taking milquetoast questions.
It's true. It's true. I actually, I tried to formulate my question. What I would have asked, if I could have, is to say, first of all, just a little over a year ago, President Obama said Democrats aren't just running on good old ideas like higher minimum wage; they're running on good new ideas like Medicare for all. And you may realize that recently, a lot of Democratic Party officials, including Obama, are basically slamming progressive policies such
Yes.
as Medicare for all. Like Bloomberg, actually, I was looking for this quote. I can't find it anywhere. I know he said something about Americans don't want a revolution. They just want evolutionary change.
That is
well,
actually what
mighty fine
Obama
for
said.
him,
It's
you know?
not Bloomberg who said that. Obama said that. And that's exactly
really?
what he said. You're correct.
Oh, my God.
Obama said
Okay,
that.
and they've been implying that to enact Medicare for all, we'd have to completely tear down the current system and remake it, which to me is a very deceptive trope. Since we already have a popular
Rose, I want to
Medicare
explain something
system.
I want to piggyback off of what you're saying to explain something a little bit
Yeah.
sort of in depth to people because what they don't understand. They talk about the
Yes.
Medicare for all would be disruptive. What I want to tell Americans
Yeah.
is when you call in, if you're in an HMO and you call in to see a specialist, you can't find one.
Mm-hmm.
That's disruptive. When you go into an emergency room for a little cut, and you finally 3 months later you get a $5,000 bill because some
Yes.
few doctors saw you who weren't on your plan. That is disruptive.
Right.
When you go ahead
This
and
is these.
go ahead.
I was going to say these are the points I was making in my question. That's disruptive, and we already have a popular Medicare system, and we learned a lot since enacting the Affordable Care Act. So there's no reason why it should be characterized like this. By the way, I'm a cancer survivor, and it's not because of insurance, believe me, because by the time they diagnosed it, it was so late that it's a miracle I'm still alive, and it was diagnosed so late because of all the hoops I had to jump through because of insurance. And I have chronic illness because of this, and I've been through it. I've been through the mill with the current system.
Let me
And I feel like,
go ahead.
sorry.
No, you go
Well,
ahead.
I feel like the purpose of promulgating this message, it just serves to brainwash our electorate. And it's not true. I would expect this kind of deceptive message from Republicans, not Democrats.
Okay, and that is what I
would
try to
expect
preach. What I try to preach, Rose. I'm
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt you, but I want to
No,
piggyback
it's
onto
fine.
what you just
It's your
said.
show.
No, but no,
Yeah.
it's the people's show. My show belonged to the folks. That's
Mm-hmm.
why I asked them to go to politicsdoneright.com and support the show because it's your
Right.
show. I promise you that everybody
By
has
the way,
equal
I am a
access to this
supporter.
show.
Yeah, by the way, I am on Patreon. I support your show every month.
Thank you so kindly. I do appreciate that, Rose. Now, let me tell you something, folks, and I want to piggyback off of what Rose is saying about Medicare for All and about Democrats and Medicare for All. We have to remember there are Democrats, then there's the establishment of both parties, and then there are Republicans. My contention is as follows, people, and this is what I need to tell you about the scare tactics, right? We talk about the only way generational theft can occur, the only way we can continue to vote against our own interests is if we keep the polarization between peoples, right? And what I do as my entry into this system is not to just sit down and talk to Democrats. I have a lot of good Republican friends. Yes, it's hard to get through to some of the conditioning that they have, but we have our conditioning as well. We are conditioned to believe that centrism is the way and not real progressive values that take into consideration real math, that doesn't take into consideration the obscenity of wealth of a very few on our backs. We have a tendency to reward, we think that a billionaire has some worth more so than you do. My goal as a host, my goal in the activism that I do is to let everybody realize that that billionaire has nothing over you. Nothing. Nothing whatsoever. Folks, if you're just joining us, please share these shows, because I tell you what, it is so important if we are to get the message out. Anything else you want to add, Rose, before I go to the other call?
Yes, one more thing, which is I don't ever hear the Democratic candidates talking about a number of positive aspects of Medicare for all, besides the fact that people wouldn't go bankrupt, that it would be equal coverage for all, not separate lanes. But, for instance, what a boon wouldn't it be to separate healthcare costs from business?
Exactly.
So that it would be a boon for small business, startups, both the owners and the employees.
Let me tell you, Rose, how I cloak that idea, right? Because I know why it is that they don't do it, right? Business wants to give health care for one reason. It's a coercive method, right? Because if you are so dependent on your job for health care, you are less likely to leave. Think about how many people hate their jobs and they stay because, well, the health care is acceptable and they don't know what they will have elsewhere. So what do? They stay. Folks, if you're just joining us, please remember to share the program. And by the way, folks, after the show, remember that we are also on Stitcher. We are also on iTunes and iHeartRadio and every single podcast platform. Rose, thank you so kindly for your call, and thank you so kindly for supporting Politics Done Right. Please encourage others to do so. That's the only way we're going to get this done.
Thank you, Alberto.
You have a wonderful
It's wonderful
day.
to have someone,
so
to talk to like yourself.
Let me go to I think it's 434. I'm going to try you again. 434, you're on. Do you want to speak or you just want to listen online? 434? Okay.
Hello?
Yes,
Can you
you're
hear me?
on.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Wait a minute, I was just posting something. Okay, let me turn this down so you can get my undivided attention and ears.
I can hear you.
Okay, you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I wanted to turn off the computer. Yes, I wanted to call in because this is a historic day coming up this Wednesday that a lot of people are not aware of, and you all have an opportunity to make it aware of for we the people. I'm a strong activist for hemp and cannabis, and we're having a bill. It's called the MORE Act. In Congress, it's going to be presented and possibly voted on Wednesday, and so you all would be a good media to put it. It's called the MORE Act, which stands for Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment and Expungement. They're equal or better than the Marijuana Justice Act by Cory Booker. It's a great bill. I follow the bills nationally and locally. I am a rebel with a cause. There's Batman, Superman, I'm Medicine Man. I got my cape that I got knighted with, but I had a smoke in at the White House. It shows a bright green leaf. It can be hemp or cannabis, marijuana, and it has the medical Cardozo sign.
Well,
but I'd like to be able to put that word out about that.
And, you know,
deal
you've
where
just-
people need to contact their representatives.
you just done it. Let me
I'm
ask you
sorry?
to do one other thing, however, though. Please make sure to drop a line with a link or something under the show on the Politics Done Right with Egberto
I did.
Willies.
It's there right now. Actually, I wrote it there right now from my SOS pack. I went nationwide, and all my people on my maxed out 4,900, all hempy and cannabis, because I've been smoking weed 49 years. I'm a Vietnam era vet. I'm a veteran for Standing Rock. I went out to North Dakota. We stopped the pipeline until Trump got in
Well,
there.
I
with
want
his
the
oil
first thing I want to.
cronies.
The first thing I want to do. What's your name, sir?
Named Duke Dunn.
Duke, the first thing I want to thank you is for being an activist. It's not easy to be an activist. Actually, it's pretty darn hard to be an activist. So thank you for what you're doing. Keep up the good work. And you just got your stuff on air, and this will be on all the different podcasts as well as live. So thank you so kindly for calling in. You have a wonderful day.
Let me add one more thing to that.
Yes.
I set myself up because I read the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence, all about we the people up by and for, and so I know the strongest power is voting. So I went nationwide, and I set myself up as the photographer. I've been in D.C. the past several years with a lobbying for NORML and many other groups, and the same thing with Virginia and Maryland. And so all my pictures, there's about 400 events. I'm a professional photographer. I've had
Well,
signed
great.
pictures
Look,
Bill and
why
Bill
don't you
Clinton,
why don't you
Bush.
just hook us up
So,
with your
I'll-
site, and hook us up with your
Okay.
site, and we'll be sure to connect. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you so kindly,
Sounds
sir. And
good.
you keep on listening, and don't forget to share the program. That is the only way we are going to make a difference. Share the program. Thank you so kindly for calling in, and you have
that's
a
why I
wonderful
call it my
day.
company. I call it to help educate misinformed people, to help educate more people, and to help end marijuana prohibition. And
Well,
I'm just
look,
all
let me.
against
I
it
want
all.
before I let you go, I want to just tell people. You know, a lot of my younger listeners gonna love to hear this. A lot of the older ones are still have sort of a fear of
I
marijuana.
came off the grid for burning. I still feel the burn again.
Yeah, I got you. Now, what I want to tell folks is the following: the reality when you hear stuff that alcohol kills a lot more, it is the truth. You have a wonderful
Oh,
day,
yeah.
sir. I gotta go. Okay.
Okay, sounds
take
good.
care
Thank
now.
you.
Bye bye. Okay, folks. Here is the deal, my friends. Continuing with the program. I want one of the reasons I started the program with generational theft is I wanted to kind of point out to people that many folks believe that they are not complicit in this and they don't understand how it really works, right? That they got things in real dollars at a discount compared to what we are getting. We are getting paid less and paying more. We're being the younger generations are being paid less and actually spending more for the same services that the older folks have gotten. That cannot be defined as anything other than generational theft, not on purpose, because here's the kicker. And folks, if you're just joining us, I ask you to share. Here's the kicker. The way all of this is implemented in such a manner that you don't notice it. In other words, the plutocracy wants to hold on to that old person vote, that mature person's vote. Okay? So they hold on to that vote. And what happens then? They get a little bitty piece of the pie, 1 point something percent right now they're getting for COLA increase in cost, or 2% or 3% or whatever. The minimum wage never goes up. So in effect, what we're seeing is a little piece of the pie is being given to the older folk. But what they're doing is they're buying the older folks at a discount so that they themselves can maximize their wealth. Because if you take a look at what's going on with the wealthy class, if you take a look at the church, and please look at a program at Dr. Richard Wolff, one of the economists, or Dr. Dean Baker. One is a capitalist, one is a socialist. It's amazing how these two economists who decide to be honest come out with identical conclusions as far as what is occurring in our society. So if you have questions, and let me go to the poll right now to see. Let's see. Lydia says, generational theft, anything less than 11.4 million per person, 22 million per couple is not taxed when being passed down to their heirs. Of you will never have to worry about it. I'm not sure exactly what you're trying to tell me there, but here's the thing. The amount of people that have that kind of money is less than 1%. So, yeah, generational theft still applies. Daniel Ledo says, if the show belongs to me, I got to make some changes. Okay, tell me the changes you want me to make, Daniel. Daniel S. says, Rose is awesome. Absolutely so. Kathleen says, Daniel, why don't you call and tell us all about them? I've asked Daniel to call many times. I'm very nice to everybody who I talk to on the phone, whether they're from the left or the right. And because it mostly involved getting a new host. Oh, well, that is one thing you can't do. But call and tell me that, as Kathleen says, I will be more than happy to talk to you about me being the host of Politics Done Right. So please, 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 my brother, feel free to call me. You know I'm an easy person to talk to. Okay, continuing with the program. What I want to do, there is people kind of worry, are we going to really win big in 2020? And the answer is yes. And the South has proven to us why, right? In places we are simply not supposed to win at this time, we're winning. After Louisiana came in, the governor, after all the nasty tricks were played on the Louisiana governor, after Donald Trump has gone to Louisiana 3 times, and Edwards still wins, it should tell you something. And it shouldn't only tell progressive Democrats something. It told the establishment Democratic Party something. We are going to win. So what did they have to do? They had to decide, if we're going to win, it is likely we're going to win with a progressive. And you know what? The plutocracy doesn't want that. And guess what? Both establishments serves the same master. They both serve the same master. I've been trying to explain that to a lot of folk. You know, I wrote a little, after Edwards' win, I wrote a little thing, just a little thing on my page to see if what kind of interest it would generate, because I wanted to get it out there. I said, I hope Democrats realize they do not have to settle for the mythical center. The Trump mystique is dead. The Kentucky governor went down even with Trump's support a couple of weeks ago and recently. Just now, Democratic Louisiana governor got reelected even as Republican had strong Trump support. It is time to give up the fear and settle in for the mythical center. Do you want a blowout win? Then talk to millennials, Gen Zs, the young Gen Xers. Let them know for once we will go big and give them back what was stolen from their futures for decades. It is time, and it is time for us to do the right thing. Enough. And, that generated a whole lot of stuff, including a person that, a young man, I like this young man. I like all the people who write on my page, okay? But one of my young guys says, I'm part of the Gen Z generation, and nothing was stolen from me. What are you talking about? I come from the working class. My parents are immigrants, and by the way, I'm an immigrant myself. Nothing was given to us. Nothing was given to me. I created a corporation. I did all that kind of stuff and did very well with it. And everything we have not is been earned through hard work. What was stolen from me? Because I can't think of one thing. And it is important to know, because stealing from someone else is a crime in the U.S. That is what this young Gen Z says. This young Gen Z is a good person. He works hard. I would like to consider myself a good person. I'm an immigrant. I came here. I worked hard. You can look it up, Willie's Computer Software Company. I formed several companies. My companies did well. I made Microsoft operating system, did things it was not supposed to do. Boeing, NASA, everybody uses the product. Being an activist now don't make any money, so I'm poor now. So remember to subscribe to politicsdoneright.com. But here's the deal. So I replied to him, a simple reply. I said, I made one specific very clear. While past Texans, and it is replicated in every state, went to college free or for a few dollars a semester hour, you will pay SANS Scholarship or Pell Grant a much higher real rate. That means those that preceded you could succeed at a lower price because they took the benefits of a tax rate to succeed and took it away from you. It is okay for you not to care about you having to work harder than your parents' generation because after using a good system, they are denying it to you. It is okay for you to feel that. I am speaking in the aggregate, not your particular situation. You see, we have to stop looking at it personally. We have to start looking at it more so than personally. I'm speaking in the aggregate, not your particular situation. I can detail policy after policy where the past generation look at the pay it forward policy of the present away, took the pay it forward policy away. It is easy to show that those of the younger generation have to work harder, that some of us are going to do very, very well, that some of us are going to do extremely well, is not how you look at it. I have to look at the totality of people, the ability for that person to succeed. So my friend responded and he said, he said, generational theft is a myth. Those who believe in the American dream know that it means you start from scratch, overcome obstacles, make something out of yourself, and realize that some will have it easier or harder than you. You can blame the billionaires all you want, but are you aware of the millions of dollars in financial aid that are unclaimed? That just means that this generation is not searching for the opportunities available to them. That is not something we can blame the billionaires for. By the way, you are also excluding the fact that college tuition increases because academic institutions grow and students end up paying for that. That's not it at all. But I mean, he gave an idea. I replied to him, I just explained the mechanics of generational theft numerically, sir. You gave me an ideological response. Oh, America is great. You lift your pants up by the bootstrap and you will succeed. That's what it's all about. That's what you did, and you were able to succeed. That's what I did. I succeeded. But you have to look at the ability for the people in general. It is selfish to just look at yourself, that you were able to go through the cracks. I have a thing that says America is not a meritocracy. It is you are chosen or not. As an example, people like to say, okay, forget about race, forget about all those things. Look, when I started my company, I needed $40,000. I went to the bank to get $40,000. Another friend of mine started another company with a white guy, $40,000. He went into the bank. The vice president sat him down. He had no equity, no nothing. He didn't even have a job. He had a little bit of what he showed was income, I don't remember how many thousand a month or something. I was working for NASA. I had a steady, good income. I didn't have a whole lot of assets. The person said, do you have any assets? I told him not particularly. I told him what he had. They laughed me out of the bank. They laughed me out of the bank. I built my company borrowing money on 19, 20, 21, 22% interest rates on credit cards. He built his company on 6% interest. His went down, mine succeeded. The thing I'm trying to tell you is there are a lot of incidentals, but there are also a lot of reasons why we have to prevent folks from all having to fight like hell to succeed, when the reality is currently we don't have a meritocracy even though we claim that we do. That's all. So anyhow, so that is one interesting thing. But the part that got to me was a person who told me, a friend of mine, who wrote to me and said, she said, I am very surprised by your comments as of late. I don't know why she's surprised really, because I wrote a book. And all these things that I talk about on my book, as I see it, class, and let me show you the book, guys. As I see it, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. The book that I wrote. I detail all of these things. I mean, the only difference in things is that no matter whom I'm talking to, I make sure to be very, very respectful. I respect everybody. So I'm not going to just be rude when I'm talking to you. I'm going to be respectful. But these ideas are not bad ideas, okay? And then she said, you do know, if you go hard left like that, the millennials and Bernie and Warren want, we will lose the middle. The right of center, the independents. Oh yes, the young ones sure know how to run the country. Really? Aren't you a baby boomer? Well, it depends. I'm either a baby boomer or a late Gen Xers. I like to use the late Gen Xers just because, when you start getting old, you want to be young, right? But anyhow, here's the deal. How good have we done so far? Those who have run this country, how good have they done for everybody thus far? People don't have savings. How good have they done? People don't have savings. People are living, the funny thing about it is because 10% live very well, because 20% live okay, we should have more empathy towards others. We shouldn't just be looking at how well we as individuals are doing. I can go to Appalachia. My brothers and sisters in Appalachia are having a hell of a hard time. And that's why they vote for Trump. Trump gives them hope. Trump tells them some crazy stuff, but he gives them hope. We're fearful that the middle is not going to vote for us. No, let's give them hope. Let's tell them that we are going to be able to clean you up. We are going to be able to clean your economy up. We're going to be able to do all these things for you. You are going to be able to have good work that you can take very good care of yourself. You're going to have good things to help yourself. We have to have trust in people. We need to tell them that this generational theft thing is just that, a thing that was designed to enrich a few, and even those who are the generational theft portion isn't real. That's what we got to do. Rose Williams says, thanks for listening to my concerns. Rose, like I said, this is your show, and I mean it. Daniel Ledo says, so much hot air. Ever plan on getting to a point? I thought I have gotten to my point several times, my friend. Maybe you're just not listening to what the point is. The point is, let's go out there and vote for the progressive values and not fear what the Democratic Party is trying to tell you, that you have to run to the center. Not fear that you have to listen to Bloomberg, that you have to listen to Obama, that you have to listen to Deval Patrick. We don't have to do that. We know the policies that we want. We know the policies that we need. Mr. Ledo, is that good enough for you, or do I need to put it down in more elemental terms, my friend? I think most of our listeners right now are understanding exactly what we're saying. I think they're understanding exactly what we're saying. So no fear there, my friend. No fear. No fear. So, folks, here's what I'm saying. President Obama came out with a cautionary tone. And where did he come out with a cautionary tone? Speaking to wealthy investors, wealthy donors. Shouldn't that ring a bell? Why would he be telling that to wealthy donors? Those of you that are listening to me on YouTube, remember there's something now called what is it called? Message Up or something like that. That you can actually it's not Message Up. What is it called? Chat. Super chat. You can super chat me if you like what you're hearing. You can super chat me and say, hey, I want to support this guy. I want to support this guy. But folks, I want you to, I'm going to be shutting down in a little bit. The show ends in about 3 or 4 minutes. If anybody wants to call in real quick or want to leave me a message real quick, I'll be more than happy to answer. But in the short, let me just ask you to go to politicsdoneright.com. I'm going to put that on the screen right now. Please go to politicsdoneright.com and support the program. I mean, we don't just do this for the sake of doing it. We really mean to make a difference. We really mean to go out there and convince Americans, first of all, not to fall for fear. And I'm not just talking to progressive Democrats, because that's a misnomer in a lot of times, right? All the policies that people claim are progressives are policies my brothers and sisters in the Midwest want. The policies my brothers and sisters in Appalachia want. They want their kids to have a good education. They want the ability to go to college. They want the ability to go to have health care without them being bankrupt. Now, there is a plutocracy telling them that Medicare for all can't do it, that you must have somebody skimming some of your money to feed the rich. They want you to believe you have to have a private insurance company that skims some of that money and delivers that money as profits to some wealthy people for doing absolutely nothing. Insurance companies add nothing to the equation. They don't add innovation. They create nothing. So whenever they tell you that Medicare for all with private insurance, it means Medicare for all with the option to rip you off. Medicare for all with the option to steal your money. Please remember that is what it really means. The reason why they talk about medicine being so complicated is not that it is complicated at all. I'm an engineer. I'm telling you. Differential equations are complicated. Arithmetic isn't. Diffie-Q is. Those of you who are engineers know that. Diffie-Q killed us. Differential equations kills you, man, because it's so damn hard to solve. But the medical problem is the only thing that makes the medical problem hard to solve is because we have to find a way for plutocrats to skim money. If we were just saying, go to the doctor, and we'll write a check to the doctor for whatever services he paid, and that we had a police force. When I say a police force, I mean a force that checks for fraud. That's all we need, right? We just need people to go to the doctor, get taken care of, and then we also have a force that periodically checks these different areas to make sure there isn't fraud. That's all we need. We don't need these complicated. I'm watching. This is the enrollment time for Medicare. I'm watching how complicated it is. Oh, Part A, Part B, Part C. All of that was created so that private companies could make money. All we had to do is throw all our money into one pot and pay out of it and get all those executives and shareholders out of the game. You do that, we have no problems. Folks, please go ahead and visit politicsdoneright.com. Please contribute to our program. If you are on YouTube, please remember to give us a super chat. The super chat is saying, hey, I like what you say. Let me just drop a dime or two to really help you move this message forward. We're needing faster computers to do all this processing that we do. Please check out our YouTube channel and all the different stuff we have there, which is quite a bit. And again, let me see if I need to come to real questions real quick. Rose says, thanks for listening. Daniel, a little hot here. Rose says, I keep up hearing that us baby boomers want something from the middle. My entire family, including my children, my husband, and my father, want to see progressive policies. My 92-year-old father wants to know what on earth Biden stands for and says nothing. Guinea Guy says, we will get our first trillionaire if their government deregulates medicine. Not good. Let me tell you something. The funny thing about it, grinning guys, is that most of the drugs that are created came from us paying to develop those drugs. Think about that. Paid for us. We basically pay for that. Again, folks, thank you so kindly for being here. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. Please stay and visit our website, visit our page, like our page. Follow Egberto Willies on Twitter. Please follow Egberto Willies on Twitter. Look, we are working for you. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you know how I end this, baby. I am what? Out!
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.
1, 2, 3, 4.